BK, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Everybody good out there? Need an audio check? I think we're good. Okay, well, we'll start with questions as usual. Hit the raise your hand function. We'll start with Teresa Walker, then we'll go to David Pascal.
Good afternoon, Brandon. You all had Kay's May back on Saturday. How good is it to have him back for that game? And can you tell already if this is going to be a big game for him on Saturday going back to Georgia?
Yeah, so most definitely, it's great to have Cade back. He's worked really hard, and just for him to have the opportunity to play is great. But, this week we've kind of just been focusing on, what we have to do as a team in order to be successful and go 1-0 every week. That's the kind of goal that we set out at the beginning of the season, and, it's kind of what we focus on is just being 1-0 every week.
Brandon, when you look back at the box score from the Missouri game and see where you guys not only averaged 5.7 yards per carry, the running backs, but that the running backs never had a lost yardage play, how nice is that as an offensive line and just an offensive unit when you don't have a single lost yardage play among the running backs?
Yeah, it was great to see and very exciting. I think as an offensive line, anytime you see the running back in front of you and hear the crowd cheering, I think that was great. So, just to look back at the game and see that was great. But we also had a lot of yards that we left out of there. As an offensive line, we knew that we wanted to be physical going in, but we kind of left little things out there. So moving forward the next game, we kind of want to, pick up on those things and be able to do better.
As a quick follow, just the challenge of Georgia, because Georgia, I think, had 6 lost yardage stops against Auburn. Just the challenge of trying to avoid that, knowing that y'all are going up against the defense that y'all are this week.
Yeah, most definitely. So far, what we've seen out of Georgia is up front. They're very big. I think the nose, number 99, Jordan Davis, I think he uses his size to an advantage, when going against blockers in the run game. So, our biggest thing moving forward is we just got to continue to be physical and execute at a high level, and I think we'll be successful.
Thank you, Brandon.
We'll go to Patrick Brown and David Ubben.
Brandon, you kind of talked a little bit about the how you guys played on the offensive line against Missouri. What did you see that you guys can do better? What do you mean when you say you guys left some yards out there, and kind of what's the hunger level this week for you guys going into this matchup?
Yeah, well, the one thing that I saw and kind of coaches harped on is, the last 2 seconds of the play. I think sometimes our runs could have been even longer if we just finished and, kind of strain on our block. So moving forward into Georgia, I think that's kind of the thing that we wanted to focus
on. Brandon, what was your advice to Cade? You guys have had similar experiences coming into a new program, used to things one way, coming in a new program and playing pretty quickly. What was your advice to him about being in that kind of situation?
Yeah, well, my advice to him is that, we watched film together. Anything he needed, he was kind of in a similar offense. So, things weren't too different. But, I was here for him with anything he needed. And, just from him coming to an SEC school to another, he knew what it was like. So, it was a lot of similarities, when we talked. So that was kind of things that we talked about.
All right, Austin Price and Vince Ferrara.
Brandon, I was going to kind of piggyback what David just asked from a standpoint of, do you remember like going against Alabama and your old teammates for the first time? What was that like for you? And can you offer any kind of advice when you're playing guys, that you used to be teammates with for Cade for this week?
Yeah, well, I think, kind of the main thing that Cade and the rest of us will focus on is just trying to, prepare for Georgia as if they were like any other team. Because like I said earlier, we kind of when we set out at the beginning of the season, we kind of wanted to be 1-0. So we didn't want to put, too much on one opponent and not the other. So we've just been kind of focusing on just like every other opponent.
Brandon, 2 things. Now with the coin toss in 2020, there's only one team captain allowed to be out there, and you were the guy in the last game. Talk about what that meant to you. And then also, if you could point out some specific things you see in Georgia's defense for this Saturday.
Yeah. So, that was very special to me, especially our first time back in Neyland after all that we went through. I loved it, and it was good that we had, at least a certain amount of fans there. So it was very special to me. And also, what I see out of Georgia's defense is they're very physical up front. Kind of like I said earlier, the nose and 2 DNs that, they're very physical in the run game. And also they have a DN, I think number 13, he's pretty good with his pass rush. And, the linebackers, they have experience, number 32. And also on the back end, I think they play very physical in the secondary as well. And, we're just excited to have this opportunity to be able to play Georgia.
All right, Rick Russo, then Rob Lewis.
Brandon, how important will it be for you guys to establish the run against what you just called a very physical front? And my second question is, having already played a game on the road in the SEC, will that help you guys going into Athens this Saturday?
Yeah, I think starting off, we obviously wanted to be physical. That was kind of one of our goals coming into the year. So I think this will be a good matchup for us, and be like kind of a rubber match going against Georgia's defense. And also, with us playing on the road, we went to South Carolina. It was kind of good to get a feel of like what it's going to be like this year playing on the road. So yeah, we kind of have a little bit of experience and kind of more comfortable and know what to expect when we go on the road.
Brandon, where did you see your guys getting better on the offensive line from South Carolina to Missouri, where you ran for over 230 yards?
I think the biggest thing was that we were on the same page. Once if you're on the same page and kind of know what to do, then it makes it easier and you're able to play faster. So that's kind of the number one thing I was able to say, and kind of the thing that we wanted to improve on, just being able to strain them, because some of those runs that we had, they were like 10 to 12 yards, but they could have been even more if we would have strained. So that's kind of what we want to do going into Georgia.
All right, Eric Kane and Brent Hubbs.
Hey, Brennan, Coach Pruitt said after the game that one of the reasons for offensive linemen rotating in and out during the game is because maybe conditioning is a factor early on in the season. So how would you evaluate your conditioning so far, being one of the guys that play every snap? And secondly, how would you evaluate Javonte Spraggins so far in the early season?
Yeah, I know for me personally, I know as a center, you have to kind of be in there, be able to glue everybody together and snap the ball. So I knew I had to be in tip-top shape. So whether it's running extra sprints after practice or anything like that, I'm always doing it because I know, we have a long SEC season. And then as far as Javonte Spraggins, he's a pretty good guard. He's very physical, and he's coming along as a freshman, and I like what I see out of him.
Brandon, when you guys, when Coach Chaney first introduced that jumbo set in practice, kind of what was your reaction, and how much do you guys enjoy getting into that beef set with the extra two linemen out there on the wings?
Yeah, as an offensive line, we're very excited. We want to run the ball. So anytime you put more linemen there and run the ball, it's great for us.
All right, Trey Wallace and Patrick Brown.
Brandon, how do you think Jared Garantano has done calling the plays to you guys, but also being able to recognize the receivers, any kind of check downs that you guys have? How would you rate his game so far?
Yeah, I think he's done exceptionally well. Us as an offensive line, kind of going to the game, we want to be able to give him time to make decisions. And I think, if we're able to give him time, then he's able to make great decisions, and we can see the success pay off on the field.
Brian, I know they're behind you a lot of the time, but Eric and Ty, when you watch film and see them run, or even in games when you see them run by you, what jumps out to you about those two guys, and how do you think they kind of complement each other, their strengths as running backs?
Yeah, so I think, starting off with Ty, as you can see, he's had success in this league as far as with the rushing yards. So I feel like, he's a pretty fast guy and pretty smart, and he's also shifty. And then moving along to Eric, I think as a younger guy, he's came along and, he's had his year last year to get more comfortable, and now he's able to, be shift and make people miss. And I think that's kind of the thing I see out of both of them.
Back to Vince, then Austin.
Hey, Brandon, yesterday when Coach Pruitt was asked about that jumbo set, he said it was Coach Chaney's idea because he's done it before, and he had no idea what the name of it was. Have you guys thrown out any names for it? What's that thing called, or what do you want it to be called?
We really haven't thought of a name, but I guess, as we go throughout the season and use it more, I guess we'll come up with a name for it, but no, we haven't as of now.
Brandon, Coach Pruitt talked about Saturday, not coaching scared, not playing scared when talking about going for it on those fourth downs. As an offensive lineman and kind of that leader of the offensive line, does it kind of get you a little bit more extra juice when, the coaches kind of instill that kind of confidence in you guys to pick up the fourth down?
Yes. So, the offensive coordinator and the head coach, they put the responsibility on us to get the first down and convert short yardage. It's always important to us. So I feel like as offensive line, we bear down and get ready to do whatever we have to do to get the first down.
Last question, Matthew Ray.
Yeah, Brandon, we saw Georgia, have all their defensive linemen standing up against Auburn at times. Linebackers walked up 5-man fronts, a lot of different fronts. What kind of confusion does that create for you as a center coming into a contest? And what are you looking at in terms of handling that and making sure your guys know their assignment?
Yeah, so anytime, a defense has multiple fronts, I think I put the responsibility on me as a center to be able to get everybody on the same page. So the things that I've been doing this week is kind of going back through some of the games they had last year when they played us, and also the first 2 games this year, to just kind of see the multiple fronts that they could give us. So like when we get into the game, I'll know what to expect and be able to get everybody on the same page quickly so we can execute and have success.
All right, thanks,